The moment Sarah stepped into the small roadside diner, her hands were trembling so hard she had to grip the strap of her purse just to steady herself. Her 8-year-old son, Liam, clung to her side, his little fingers squeezing with silent fear. Outside, the old pickup truck that had followed them for 30 straight minutes sat parked across the lot, its engine still running. Sarah knew the men inside weren't just passing by. They wanted something she couldn't give, and they weren't going to stop until they got it. Inside the diner, bright lights shimmered across the red leather booths, but for Sarah, everything felt dim, like she was sitting inside a spotlight waiting to be cornered. Her heartbeat hammered against her ribs as she sat down and prayed someone, anyone, would notice the silent storm she was drowning in. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in looking out for those who can't defend themselves, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps these powerful stories reach more hearts. Sarah held her son close as she pretended to glance through the menu, but her terrified eyes kept drifting toward the window. The same 2 men from the pickup truck stepped inside the diner. They weren't hiding anymore. One was tall, thin, and jittery, his eyes scanning the room like a predator searching for weakness. The other was built like a wall, with a sneer carved permanently into his face. They sat 2 booths behind Sarah, close enough for her to hear their boots scrape the floor. That was when she realized the truth: they wanted to take Liam. Her late husband had owed them money years ago, and even though he was gone, they believed the debt still lived through her. But fate, in its mysterious way, placed 2 men in black leather vests on the other side of the diner. They were bikers, heavy-bearded, tattooed, intimidating. Most people wouldn't dare look their way. But Sarah had lived enough life to know that kindness sometimes came from the places people feared the most. The patches on their vests read, "Hell's Angels, Nomads Division." She remembered reading once that these men protected the vulnerable when no one else did, especially women and kids. But reaching out to them could make the situation worse, or save her life. Her hands trembled as she picked up her fork. Her mind raced. She couldn't speak to anyone directly, the men behind her were watching every movement. Then her eyes landed on something small but powerful, the diner's old-fashioned table number stand. She turned the little metal card upside down, the universal distress sign she learned from a survival article months ago. A silent SOS. A plea. A desperate gamble. She placed her shaking hands on the table and prayed someone would see it. And one of them did. The biker with the long gray beard and icy blue eyes noticed first. He was mid-bite when his gaze drifted to Sarah's table. His eyes narrowed. He looked at her face, pale, frightened, forced stillness covering layers of panic, then at the 2 men behind her, then back at the flipped card. Anyone else might have missed it. But he didn't. Seconds later, he nudged the brother beside him. Both turned their attention towards Sarah, their expressions sharpening like blades. They weren't just watching, they were assessing, calculating, preparing. Sarah felt her throat tighten. She held her son tighter and whispered for him not to turn around. Her palms grew damp as the danger behind her became almost suffocating. The 2 men who followed her had clearly realized she wasn't alone. Their voices grew harsher, their posture more aggressive. She could sense them rising from the booth. That was when she heard heavy boots stand up, but they were coming from the opposite direction. The biker with the cold blue eyes slowly stepped towards Sarah. He didn't sit. He didn't speak. He simply stood between her booth and the men approaching behind her. His presence alone was enough to shift the air in the diner. The other biker moved behind him, blocking the aisle like a wall made of leather and steel. The 2 men froze. Sarah didn't dare turn around, but she heard one of them mutter under his breath, "This ain't your business." The biker in front of her didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even raise his hands. He didn't need to. His silent presence radiated the kind of protective fury only men who had fought their entire lives carried within them. Another biker, a woman from the kitchen area, subtly signaled to the waitress. The staff quietly locked the side doors, pretending to tidy up. The entire diner shifted into a silent alliance without a single word being spoken. The tall, thin man tried to step forward. That was his biggest mistake. The biker with the blue eyes took one step back, still shielding Sarah. The 2 men realized, too late, that they weren't just dealing with 1 or 2 bikers. Outside, the rumble of engines filled the air as more leather-clad brothers gathered. The entire parking lot trembled with their arrival. The two dangerous men backed away slowly, trying to escape through the door, but several bikers had already blocked the exit outside. One wrong move and it would be over for them. After a tense moment, the men retreated, storming out as fast as they could once the bikers allowed them to leave. Their truck peeled away, tires screeching into the night, vanishing into the darkness where they belonged. Only when the danger completely disappeared did the biker finally turn toward Sarah. She didn't know what to say. Her breath shook, tears building behind her eyes. Her little boy clung to her side, both safe and terrified. The biker simply nodded at her, a gesture that said, "You're safe now. No one is touching you or your boy." When she finally broke down in tears, he placed a gentle hand on the table, a silent promise that protection didn't always come from badges or uniforms, sometimes it came from those society judged the harshest. Outside, the bikers escorted Sarah to her car. They insisted on following her home, making sure no one trailed her again. For the first time in months, maybe even years, Sarah felt the weight on her chest lighten. Life had been merciless to her since her husband died, leaving her drowning in debts and threats. But that night, strangers became guardians. Men feared by many became the angels she needed. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. If this story touched your heart or reminded you that good people still walk this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support truly keeps stories like this alive. Before you go, comment below, do you believe heroes can come from unexpected places?